So the guy who predicted the 2008 mortgage meltdown seems to be betting against some major stock markets right now. Michael Burry, made famous by the book and the movie The Big Short, has apparently been shorting again, this time the NASDAQ and the S&P. So what is he seeing, and is he right? Let's bring in Kevin O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures and Shark Tank star and investor. Great to have you here today, Kevin. We reminded everybody in the tease of that moment from the movie where Michael Burry is telling them that the housing market is about to fail, and he's got bare feet and his T-shirt on, and they're asking if they should trust him. What do you think about what he's doing right now? Can you explain it to us?
Well, the difference between the Big Short story, which was the housing market, was very specific to one sector of the economy, real estate, but more specifically to the mortgage-backed market. And the syndication of debt was very complicated then, very opaque. He figured it out, that it was a house of cards, on that one specific metric, and that was one area of the market. And he was 100% right, and he deserves to win that one because no one else saw it the way he did. What he's doing now is completely different. The S&P 500 has 500 mega cap companies in it in 11 sectors of the economy, real estate only being one of them. And so you would need every sector to falter, or at least the valuations of every company in the S&P to significantly go down at the same time to win on that bet. Now, NASDAQ, the NASDAQ 100 is primarily technology, but not all tech. But there are 7 stocks in there right now that are trading at a very high price-to-earnings ratio. And that's a different kind of bet, but they, too, are in multiple sectors of technology. So I don't think it's going to be that easy. People don't understand about shorting. Many investors learn it the hard way. I was one of them a long time ago. When you short a stock, you have unlimited liability. If you buy a stock at $10, it goes to zero, you lose $10. But if that stock, if you're short it and it goes up to $200, $300, $400, $500, you don't have enough money to cover the margin calls you're getting, and very few people do. Now, when you bet the whole market short, you have real kahunas, and that's what he's doing here.
Yeah, he's got 1.6 billion potential exposure here. We don't know if he has changed that investment, since he originally placed those bets. But Warren Buffett also selling $8 billion worth of stock. That also has people concerned. Are you concerned as you look at the larger market right now? Is there something going on that people are not seeing or that they're choosing not to see?
No, I'm not concerned about one individual short making that decision. When you short the market, you're essentially saying, I'm timing the market. I know something others don't know, because people that try and live off market timing have a very hard time. You may get lucky once, as he did in housing syndication of mortgage debt, but this is a whole different kettle of fish that he's playing with. Warren Buffett selling $8 billion worth of stock, that's actually a rounding error in his portfolio. It's almost meaningless. Doesn't matter, and he's just trying to stay diversified. And my bet is that sale's actually one of his new managers just trimming a portfolio, and that's why the market doesn't care that much about it. But to actually say that I know the market's going to go down, he will be right one day. When is unknown. And how much pain will he have to take along the way? And does he have enough dry powder, as they like to say, at the margin desk? Because every time that market goes up another 1 or 2%, that phone is ringing and they're saying, send in some more cash.
I got to cover this.
So
yeah.
you really have to know what you're doing. It's very risky.
It's interesting. Thank you so much, Kevin. Great to see you. Thanks for coming on today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.